Good afternoon from Europe. Good morning, good evening, whatever you are. 3rd of March 2020. 5 minutes towards the US cash open, New York cash open. Piotr here, my pleasure to make a New York Open update for you only here on Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Plenty of interesting information around. Looks like that before and right after G7 there is a ban on the information in relation to the coronavirus. Only Iranians can provide the information. For example, that 8% of the Iran's parliament has tested positive for coronavirus, the deputy parliament speaker says. So, well, in Iran, there is no ban for the information from Iran, right? But looks like G7 put the ban on the Europe at least, temporarily on the US as well, because for the last few hours I haven't seen anything in relation to the coronavirus when it comes to the Europe or US. The only information I've seen was the well, I don't remember right now where it was, but one of the US city, the high school being closed because of the positive test. Overall, looks like no new cases, but well, we have some information from Japan when it comes to the coronavirus. They do whatever they can to not postpone the Olympic game, but well, looks like there might be the game might be postponed. Anyway, G7. Okay, G7 finance ministers and central bankers release statement pledging to use all appropriate policy tools, but they do not announce the action. Well, there was no reason to announce any kind of the action. Why? Because, well, we had a discussion before I started this update. I had a discussion with my colleague, and he was trying to explain me, come on, it's much cheaper to manipulate the stock to the upside instead of doing all those rate cuts, whatever, right? So it's easier to print something and push the stocks higher, especially that, you know, repo, plenty of money, but when it comes to the repo, it's not that great because it was heavily oversubscribed. But anyway, it's also cheaper to send Mnuchin or Kudlow to the TV. They can try, at least they can try to pump the stocks. And a few minutes ago, we had US Treasury Secretary Mnuchin saying, if there is a need to stimulate the US economy due to coronavirus, infrastructure is priority. Mnuchin administration coordinating with the international organizations counterparts on coronavirus. G7 finance minister committed to do everything possible to limit spread of the virus, mitigate effects. And finally, we stand ready to work with the Congress on emergency funding package. Any other related issues? So, all right, guys. So that was the latest news. Let's have a look what we have on the chart. So let's straight jump to the Nasdaq charts without any further delay. All right. So now the key question is, either we are doing Captain Hack formation, right? Maybe I should do it a little bit different way. Captain Hack, right? Anyway, or we are going to do V-shape recovery with much higher levels. Any guesses? Well, I think that we are going to get an answer somewhere here. Once we are going to test this consolidation over here, especially when we are going to test 50% of that consolidation. So in that case, based on my chart, somewhere 9,140.50 and 9,220 the upper bound of that consolidation, right? There is also possibility with the you know, huge manipulation to the upside, meaning taking the liquidity from here, right? Taking the liquidity from here and pushing the market a bit higher towards the latest visible demand, trying to close the gap, all right, and then eventually making the move to the downside. So from the seller's perspective, as I mentioned, either levels close to 9,150 to 9,220 or much higher towards 9,000, almost 400 based on my chart, trying to close the gap, right? So either this type of the move or this type of the move. Now, if the buyers are going to manage to take out that high, right? Meaning that if we are going to eventually have this type of the scenario over here with move higher, then for the bears it's gonna be huge challenge. Why? Because we might just see this type of the pullback, and what? Guess what? Guess what? Moon. Sky is the limit, right? So I would say from the seller's perspective, if they can fight the Fed, all other central bankers, the levels around 9,155, 9,220, that's gonna be the key in my opinion when it comes to the Nasdaq. And well, so we might see some further rally when it comes to the stocks, especially around today's open, right? Just to counter, because you know there's no action. We've seen immediately we've seen some move to the downside, right? It's gonna be better visible on a smaller time frame. So we've seen this type of the move to the downside, but it's almost, we are almost done with V-shaped recovery. All right. So looks like the US cash is open. I wonder, we will see if this 1-to-1 will hold. All right. So let's have a look what we have from the first 5 minutes. First five minutes. That's the US cash open. All right. There you go. So we retest and the buying is going on. That's the first 5 minute trading range high. And as of now, the cash open is the first 5 minutes trading range low, right? All right. So that's how I see the things. We will see what's going to happen. In case of the failure here, oh yeah. That might be interesting. So I'm going to monitor very closely. Don't forget, guys, there is nothing interesting when it comes to the calendar today, right? But I would like to briefly just discuss the one FX pair. Just wait a few seconds to see where we are going to get that close. And I mean euro dollar, right? Because if there is no action from the Fed right now, we might reverse this move on the euro dollar we've seen lately, right? Now, what I mean by that, it's gonna be very interesting. Okay, so they have to fight here. What I mean by that, right? Well, we were discussing euro dollar, right? We have to get back below 111, meaning that we have to get back below this previous supply. We have to activate that supply again, right? And guess what? Don't be surprised that we've seen some buyers right below 111. It's also 200 daily moving average for the fans of the moving averages. So, well, I'm still exposing to the downside. I've been talking that to you that I'm gonna to build the short position on the euro dollar between 11.50. That's what I'm doing. The thing is that I would prefer to see the daily close below, right? Just to avoid the situation that we have two consecutive daily close above, that we have two consecutive daily close above 200 daily moving average, as well as above this latest supply. So I'm watching very carefully. I'm exposed to the short side, but if we are going to get the second daily close in a row above, I might reconsider, and well, I'm going to think what to do, and of course I'm going to make an update if necessary. So guys, that was my pleasure to make this New York cash open for you. Watching carefully, nothing extraordinary when it comes to the calendar. So the coronavirus news are gonna be the main driver here. Oh, sorry, what a mistake I made. Completely sorry. I had 5-minute chart. So the levels are a little bit different. I'm sorry guys, I haven't noticed. That's the daily open, which is equal to the, yeah, which is equal to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the day low. All right, now it's clear. All right, so guys, watching carefully, I do have exposure when it comes to the euro dollar, watching indices. From the intraday perspective, if we are going to get some kind of the failure either here or around the daily open, I might try to, from the intraday perspective, to try to grab few points to the downside. All right, so guys, stay tuned. I'm gonna to make an update if necessary. Don't be trapped, lower your exposure. It's a news-driven market. The volatility is much higher than what you've seen for a couple of years, so it's easy to be hurt. Be safe guys. See you around. Thank you very much. Take care and goodbye.